Beyond the reach of voters and the glare of cameras lies the deep state. Intelligence agencies do not merely observe history, they architect it through a combination of clandestine funding, psychological operations, and targeted destabilization. They ensure that global events align with the strategic interests of the unelected elite, turning sovereignty into a polite fiction. Control of the narrative is the first priority. In the 1950s, agencies began recruiting journalists and editors at major news outlets. This Mockingbird network ensures that public opinion is funneled toward desired outcomes. By planting stories or suppressing dissent, they create a fabricated reality where the public enthusiastically supports the very wars and policies that harm them. When a foreign leader prioritizes their people over corporate interests, the regime change playbook is activated. It begins with civil society grants to opposition groups, followed by orchestrated protests and economic sabotage. By the time the military moves in, the agency has already handpicked the successor, ensuring the new government is compliant, grateful, and controlled. Agencies work in tandem with international financial institutions to trap developing nations in unpayable debt. This economic hitman strategy forces countries to privatize their resources and surrender their infrastructure. If a leader refuses the loan, the agency moves from the carrot to the stick, initiating a smear campaign or a sudden internal uprising to remove the obstacle. To maintain control at home, agencies often employ the strategy of tension. By allowing or facilitating domestic instability, they create a fearful public that begs for increased surveillance and police powers. Every crisis is an opportunity to expand the national security state, trading genuine liberty for a false sense of security provided by the very people who stoke the fire. Operating off the books requires massive amounts of untraceable black budget cash. History shows agencies have frequently been linked to the global drug trade, from the Golden Triangle to the Iran-Contra affair. By managing the flow of illicit goods, they generate the billions needed to fund private armies and black sites without the need for parliamentary or congressional approval. Agencies specialize in perception management. They use social media algorithms and bot farms to polarize populations, pitting neighbor against neighbor. By keeping the public in a state of constant emotional agitation over social issues, they ensure that the people never unite to look upward at the systemic manipulation of their economy and their foreign policy by the shadow state. World leaders are often treated as temporary assets. Agencies maintain thick dossiers on every politician, using blackmail or the promise of power to ensure loyalty. A leader who tries to go off script is quickly reminded of their vulnerabilities. The result is a global political class that responds to the needs of the intelligence community far more than the needs of their constituents. Direct military intervention is expensive and unpopular. Instead, agencies arm and train rebel groups or freedom fighters to do their dirty work. These proxy armies are used to bleed rivals and destabilize regions. Often, these same groups are later rebranded as terrorists when they are no longer useful, providing a convenient new enemy for the next cycle of the war on terror. The modern surveillance state is a public-private partnership. Intelligence agencies have embedded themselves within the infrastructure of big tech. Through backdoors and data-sharing agreements, every digital transaction and communication is logged. This panopticon allows for the predictive modeling of social unrest, allowing the state to neutralize dissent before it even begins. To prevent genuine revolution, agencies often create or infiltrate protest movements. By steering these groups toward harmless or divisive goals, they neutralize the energy of the people. This controlled opposition ensures that even the most vocal critics of the system are actually operating within parameters set by the state, providing a pressure valve that protects the status quo. The manipulation of global health is the latest frontier. Agencies have long been involved in dual-use biological research. By controlling the patents on vaccines and the narrative around pandemics, they can exert massive pressure on sovereign nations. Health crises become a tool for biosecurity, allowing for the suspension of civil rights on a global, coordinated scale. Agencies require a perpetual boogeyman to justify their existence and budgets. Whether it's communism, terrorism, or a rogue state, the enemy is often built up by the very agencies tasked with fighting them. By magnifying threats and ignoring the root causes of conflict, they ensure a permanent state of emergency that keeps the military-industrial complex profitable and dominant. Behind every humanitarian intervention is a map of mineral wealth, oil, or rare earth metals. Agencies map the world's resources and deploy soft power to secure them. If a nation tries to nationalize its resources, it is met with sanctions or democratic uprisings. The goal is a world where the planet's wealth is managed by a few global corporations under the agency's protection. When all other methods fail, the ultimate sanction is applied. Professional wetwork teams are used to eliminate high-value targets in ways that are untraceable or appear as accidents, from heart attack guns to staged car crashes. The agency's ability to remove an individual from the board ensures that no single person, no matter how popular, can truly derail the global agenda. The long-term manipulation of politics begins in the classroom. Through the funding of think tanks and university chairs, agencies influence the intellectual climate of a nation. They promote ideologies that favor globalization and centralized power, while marginalizing traditional values and national identity. They are playing the long game, shaping the minds of future leaders. Intelligence officers operate under the guise of diplomatic immunity within embassies. These buildings are often high-tech spy hubs used to monitor the host country's communications and recruit local officials. The embassy is the command center for the local inside job, acting as a sovereign fortress, from which the agency can direct the subversion of the host government. Agencies strive to be the gatekeepers of truth. They invest billions in cracking encryption and controlling the flow of information on the internet. By being the only ones who can read everyone's mail, they gain a massive informational advantage over businesses, rival states, and private citizens alike. In the information age, he who controls the data controls the world. The loyalty of the top-tier agency officials is rarely to their home nation. They belong to a transnational elite that sees borders as obstacles to trade and control. They meet at private summits to coordinate global policy, ensuring that the Five Eyes and other alliances act as a unified global police force that protects the interests of the international banking cartels. The greatest success of intelligence manipulation is the illusion of choice. The public is presented with two carefully vetted candidates who disagree on minor issues but agree on the core tenets of the national security state. No matter who wins the election, the agency's projects for surveillance and debt continue unabated. The voter is a passenger on a train they do not drive. Beyond the public laws lie the secret treaties and executive agreements that actually govern international relations. These deals, brokered by intelligence chiefs behind closed doors, dictate everything from energy prices to military basing. They are the true constitution of the global order. Hidden from the public, and even from most members of the nominal government, agencies use pop culture, movies, and music to promote specific lifestyles and values that weaken traditional social structures. By promoting hyper-individualism and consumerism, they erode the community bonds that could otherwise resist state power. The culture war is a distraction designed by the agency to keep the population fragmented and politically impotent. The final step in the agency's plan is the Universal Digital ID. By linking a person's finances, health records, and social media activity to a single digital token, they achieve total social control. Dissidents can be turned off with a keystroke, their bank accounts frozen, and their travel restricted. This is the ultimate soft coup against the freedom of every person on Earth. Those who try to expose the inside job are treated as the ultimate enemies. Agencies use the full weight of the land, the illegal tools at their disposal, to destroy whistleblowers. They are smeared as traitors or driven into exile. Their fate serves as a warning to others. The secrets of the shadow state are protected by a wall of fire that few can survive crossing. The manipulation of global politics by intelligence agencies is not a conspiracy theory. It is the historical norm. As long as power is concentrated and national security is used as a shield, the shadow state will continue to rule from the dark. The inside job is the engine of history, a silent, bloody mechanism that ensures the world remains exactly as the planners intended.